Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Twilla Happy Hour, where if Head Trauma had a podcast, it would sound like this. And that comes from that Tribune writer.
Yeah, tell people about it who are just tuning in.
I forget his name.
Oh, he's amazing, then.
But he loves us. And that's that. Anyways, but in a lot of ways, he may have good cause. That night that he came on and said that stuff, we were having someone on that he vehemently, boy, I'm stumbling on that word, disagreed with. But
that's good. That's what we want, right? We want people who disagree, who can have a conversation without being...
I've invited him on the show so many times.
And did he not?
And he, again, I'll say vehemently denies coming on the show. But that's okay. Anyway, so as everyone knows, tonight is the first night that Dave is gone. And so we will be your current faces in the group. Now, Dave will be showing back up probably remotely after he gets settled into his routine down there. He's down there getting settled in. His wife is still up here. So, they're, all the stuff they've got to do, they've got to live remotely for a while while they get everything else done. But anyways, so tonight we're just going to talk about some news and some interesting stuff. But me personally, what I want to start with is I want to kick off just kind of talking about local events that are going on and some things like that. But first, I've got to push a couple buttons here on the computer before we get into it.
We're just doing some housekeeping, making sure that we get out to everyone. And I'd love to take this opportunity to ask those of you that tune in if you wouldn't mind telling friends about us and sharing the word. That would be awesome. We would really like to grow our audience and make sure that we are covering everything that interests you and certainly interests the two of us. And though we're not experts in any specific field per se, we feel like it's important to talk about these issues that are facing our families and our lives and our country. And the more participation, the merrier. So we appreciate anyone who tunes in and participates on live. And then if you're unable to catch us live, you can always catch us on the podcast through iTunes, or you can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on
YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. We're everywhere. I did a quick search the other day, and we're on some that I've never heard of, some podcast catchers. So and if we're not somewhere, I strive to get us to that place.
Yeah, so check us out. And if you like what we have to say, like it and subscribe. And that just helps us get more, create better content and have a better show. Yeah.
Yes. And there is some exciting news coming up over the next month that we're going to hold off on talking about until it comes to more fruition. But hopefully we can gain your support then. But let's get on with talking about some kind of current eventy stuff that I think is, obviously you would have to call it important because it is. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Give me just a second.
Do you want to talk about election
results? I want to talk about the election results we just had and kind of run through them. And for those of you who don't know what our officials are now, this will give you an idea. So I guess we can start out with the Twilla City Council. Melody Goches.
Congratulations, Melody.
Justin Brady, he's the chair of the council, and he's back in. Will he continue to be chair, or do they elect a new chair every time?
I think they reelect. I mean, people can keep it because they like what they're doing, but I think their option to reelect is always there.
Okay.
Once the chair is reelected, they decide. At least that's how our council works for the county. So I believe the city is probably the same, but I don't work with the city council, so I'm not sure.
We'll have to check in with them. And Ed Hansen, right?
Yes.
So those are our three. Now, Justin and Ed are their incumbents reelected, and Melody held the office prior, and she is now reelected again. We want to congratulate them.
Congratulations. I respect anyone who puts their name into work in an office to serve. And I say
pity
congratulations
them.
in advance to everyone. I won't say it every time, but what you see there are 6 people who thought they could add something to their community and serve their community. And it's not an easy job.
Nope.
And it's not a lot of thank yous. And you're going to make a lot of enemies as well as even from people that you already know that you may not like you after you've served in public office because of decisions you make or votes you make. So I just want to thank anyone willing to put their hat in the ring, invest their time, their money to run for office. And I think Tooele City is it's a great example. Their city council is doing good things. So
yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get back to the names real quick. So those who were beat out was Tony Graff, and of course, he's an incumbent that was running and a friend of the show.
Yeah, we like Tony.
We like Tony a lot. But he'll be able to focus on that new motorcycle he got now. Ryan Parker, I think we interviewed him and pretty good showing. We're talking, these percentages on votes are still quite close. 16% for Tony, almost 17, almost 11% for Ryan, and Doug, almost 9%. So those are still close votes. Doug, yay. We didn't have an opportunity to talk to Doug, but we thank him for running. Tooele City Proposition 8, which, if I remember, that was all kind of about document storage, if I remember, or note storage. I can't remember. It wasn't one of those big extreme changes. It was mostly a change would be on the government level that the average citizen wouldn't even notice or recognize.
I feel like it was wording in the proposition was changing previous wording, if I remember.
Trust
correctly.
me, you guys won't even notice. But it passed. Grantsville City, Heidi Hammond, Rhett Butler, and Jeff Williams all took the seats. They beat out Richard Farley, Whit Cook, friend of the show, and Max Chavez. And I think we interviewed Richard, Whit, Max. We interviewed Max when he ran for mayor. Did we interview? I don't think we got an interview lined up with Heidi, Rhett, or Jeff, which is bad. That kind of breaks our thing because last go around, everyone we interviewed won. And this time it might be the other way around. Though we did chat with Justin, if I remember. Wendover City, I know this is way out there. Brandon Grossman won, and he beat out Adam Palafox. Manuel Carrillo Gomez, or Carrillo Gomez. If I pronounce your name incorrectly, feel free to reach out and correct me. And Ralph Vicks. Urda City, Scott Drewbay beat out Caleb Sessions for District 1.
These are really high percentages in this race.
Now, these ones, especially when you look at Scott Drewbay. I'm used to saying the road, Drewby Road, but it's Drewbay.
It's Drew Bay Road.
Yeah, it's named after his family, and he pulled a heavy percent. But
you rarely see an 80% win. So,
but he's well known there in Urda. I mean, everyone knows.
But you're
him.
seeing 60%. You don't usually see that either.
That is true. District 3, Clyde Christensen, and looks like Clyde beat out Jack Buck Peck. District 5, Sheldon Birch beat out Keith Toon. And yes, we have not talked to any of them. Lake Point, Kathleen Von Hatten. Now, I'm not sure about Lake Point's setup. If this is just for one person or if this is everyone else. But Kathleen Von Hatten, she got 34.7% of the vote. Kirk Pearson got 34.3%, and Doyle Gerard got 31%. So that's
very close,
extremely tight. And Kirk, of course, is a friend of the show and an old friend of mine. I've known Kirk for a very long time now. He's ran for office as a constitutional party many times, both state Senate and representative. Stansbury Greenbelt, this affects you.
It does affect me, and what it shows me is the winners of the Stansbury Greenbelt, Stansbury Rec, both new faces. So they got rid of the.
So is this just who won on these names?
The top
here?
number, Brett Palmer beat Amon Jacobsmeyer.
Okay.
And Kyle Shields beat those other two, Colton Henderson and Randall Hinton.
Okay, so that shows that a lot of people aren't happy with.
A lot of people are unhappy with Stansbury.
The circumstances, the
Greenbelt and Rec.
What is it? A 208% increase on taxes.
104% in the Greenbelt and 104% in recreation was added to our taxes.
208% taxes.
Well, it's been an argument because people say you can't double them because they're separate, and then someone even went through a whole Google explanation of why it's only 104%. It's just twice. So rather than argue with them,
it's 104% to do different locations,
Yeah.
but you can make the checkout to the same place. Don't worry about it.
And many of you that know me in Stansbury understand that I've been very vocal against this current state of affairs happening in our two. Well, it's one council that represents two separate entities of Stansbury Park. And so I think that I myself was not alone in my feelings by the obvious votes that went to they went against the incumbents.
Yeah. I feel bad for the incumbents because they walked into a situation that was already
Sure. And both of those guys are great guys.
Yeah.
Very great guys. And they didn't start out serving the county. Like I said before, they didn't jump in so they could take everybody's money and make bad choices.
They're trying to recover there was some embezzlement that happened.
They got that recovered in some.
Yeah, but they're trying to make up for that. And then they're trying to have a growth model. And I, being that hardcore, crazy libertarian myself, I don't think that governments should try to manage for-profit stuff because governments only burn through other people's money.
Yeah, that's absolutely
It's just my
true.
thoughts. Anyways, now let's move on to the big dogs. House District 2, this is your new congressperson, is Celeste Malloy. She's the Republican. She won in the district-wide, she won 56.9% of the vote. But just in the county, she won 59.1%. She had a good showing in the county. Tooele is a strong Republican county, and I would say thanks to Holly, and also thanks to Grantsville City Mayor. They both brought her out and gave her lots of time and hosted meet and greets, hosted town halls, and also hosted debates that helped boost her. She beat out Kathleen Reeby. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name,
Can I just
Kathleen.
say about Celeste, and thank you for that shout out, but I think as a party chair, my team and I work extremely hard to get the populace as informed as they can on candidates that we are trying to represent. And it's because of the mayors and our county council and Jared Hamner, for example, making sure that we had locations where our party secretary, Suzette Wright, she's worked so hard to make sure we're informing our delegates, informing our central committee, and trying to get you, the populace, just to know that these events are open to you and to come and meet these people, and especially to the work she had already done and had been doing with all of these electeds in our county, with Chris Stewart. So yeah, we had a few short weeks to get her out there before a primary, and it just felt like it went by in a blink of an eye, because she was just on a fast pass. There was a lot of drama. And the beauty of it is her campaign just held steady. They worked hard while she was still doing the work that was demanded of her out of DC with Chris Stewart, and doing her own campaign at the time. So she was sworn in this week, and she was sworn in by herself because this was a special election. Mm-hmm. And she'll hit the ground running. And she's got a month before she has to file again to run for this same seat.
Yeah. This is.
That sounds exhausting.
Yes, it does. We're sitting in exciting times. And she beat out Kathleen Reby. Okay, Kathleen, for the Democrat people, she's probably really good for you. I have heartburn with her. I'm a free speech absolutist. She wants to limit free speech. I'll tell you what, right now, a Republican that comes out and wants to limit free speech, they'll never get an ounce of my vote. Free speech.
That's Nikki Haley right now wanting to censor people from having basically anonymous Facebook pages and such.
Oh, yeah, and where they want to get rid of TikTok and stuff like that. I'm not a fan. I think free speech is the ultimate hill to die on. But for a Democrat, she makes a lot of sense. And right now the Democrats are the party in charge, so the Democrats are more than happy to limit free speech, because free speech only damages those who are in charge. Just like the Republicans in the 60s and 70s were more than happy to limit free speech, the Democrats are now.
Well, Kathleen also, I mean, she did have a bright spot about her that I noticed was her involvement in education. And in Utah education, she did have some pretty good ideas. The issue that I could take up were, the usual Democrat ideas with abortion and with borders and with the absolute things that are key issues in my personal life that I have a standing against.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking about just my personal life. I think everyone should apply free speech into their lives.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
That protects you when you're on the bottom.
Well, there's a reason it's in the First Amendment.
The reason it is the first.
And that goes for everything, for press. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could be censored right now. We would have a shadow audience if we're on YouTube saying something that YouTube disagrees with. Not breaking a community standard per se, but and it's not just like, oh, they take us off. No, they leave us on. They just don't tell anyone we're there.
That's what they've started doing. We on this show have been canceled quite a few times.
Well, I don't doubt that.
Matter of fact, there's a YouTube YouTube exam I can take to get some of my cancellation tick marks removed.
So all these people, is there anyone that stands out to you?
Perry T. Myers. We didn't know him, didn't interview him. He didn't do very good. He did good, and he did better in Tooele than he did district wide. So that makes me know that maybe we should have got to know him, because if Tooele gave him those votes that pushed him up past Brad Green, which district wide came in third, but he came in, sixth district wide, but in Tooele he came in third, and so we should have got to know him, because that's something that apparently he has some meaning to Tooele.
Well, in the district he came in third. In Tooele.
No, in Tooele.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Perry T. Myers.
Yeah, in Tooele he came in third, and then Brad Green came in third district wide, but he came in fourth in Tooele. And of course, we chatted with Brad Green. He ran for the Libertarian Party. He is a member of the Mises Caucus. For those in the know, the Mises Caucus took over the Libertarian Party last year and changed a lot and pushed a few libertarians out. Some of the some of the libertarians that leaned more towards the Democrat side and were trying to peel them off, push them out. So it's a more, I would say it's a more paleo-conservative libertarian party right now. And then, of course, in Tooele, January Walker came in sixth right after Brad Green, and she came in fifth district-wide. She was with the United Utah Party. And
January's been on the show.
Yeah, January is a very good friend of the show, and we'll see her on the show again. She has a lot of thoughts. She's a forward-thinking person. And just because Dave's gone doesn't mean that Bitcoin disappears off the show. In January, we'll be
She's very smart. I know that from watching her on the show.
Yeah, she's a brilliant young lady. Cassie Easley in Tooele County came in next. And then kind of my favorite that we interviewed when it was too late for me to throw my hat in with him because Joe Buckman. Joe is running just for disclosure. That's it. Just he wants to know about the UFOs. And I like that.
That's the whole basis of his campaign?
Yep, 100%. The whole thing. Disclosure and to do away with NDAs in the government.
Wow.
I like that. It's wild. It's crazy. And
well, he fared the same in Tooele County district-wide as well.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about him. That never came up.
He's a super nice guy, very intelligent guy. He used to be Libertarian Party, but kind of the Mises Caucus ran him out. He was one of those. And then Jonathan Peterson. And Jonathan didn't gain any traction in Tooele County at all. And maybe it wouldn't have been a bad idea to interview him because he might have been another option for people. But we want to congratulate Celeste. I can say both of us were rooting for Celeste. And I think we're, in good hands with her. I know some people are probably heartburned that they're not getting Kathleen because they lean more to the Democrat side of the house and more of that strong government side. And I'm sorry, but not at all really, because I think governments are the root of all evil on this earth. And that's that.
Well, and this I'm sorry if this is boring to people, because this is a lot of data. And what I have to do is say a big thank you to our Tooele County Clerk, Tracy Shaw.
Oh, she's awesome.
She is phenomenal. And I can't stress this enough. Our county's so lucky with the transparency coming out of her office, the knowledge, just the hard work. Her office is made up of some incredible people, and her team, she attributes everything to that team. And that is also a really great view of her character, is that, she's about transparency. She wants integrity in every piece of the election, and we think that's highly important. Your vote is so important, and the fact that I sleep at night knowing that if it's my candidate, if it's another candidate, another party side, I have zero fear when it comes to what's happening in Tooele County Clerk's office. And I can't say that every person in other counties and other chairs can feel that way.
Yeah.
So I feel really lucky there.
Yeah, well, we're lucky in all of our county management. And again, I'm a fan of city and county management because those are people I know where their office is. I can make it to their office on a lunch break. I can ask them questions. I ran into our sheriff. I ran into our county councilman Wardell and Tracy all yesterday morning at Verge's.
No kidding.
Eating breakfast. Said hi to them, see how they're doing. Humana. You can chat with them. If there's heartburn about something that's going on, you can approach them and you can go to their meetings. It's a little different if I want to go to the state house to a meeting.
Yeah. Well, you can actually go to your clerk's office at ballot counting night and watch them count the ballots.
And it's exactly impossible for the average person to make it to the federal, to the house in DC for a meeting. So anyways, let's get on. Local Tooele news. Okay. Tooele City will host their annual holiday concert on the evening of Monday, December 4th.
That's coming up, guys. That's coming up
Yep.
this Monday.
December 4th. The band is Eclipse 6. And it will be at the high school auditorium. That's 301 West Vine Street. It's at 7 p.m. Doors will open at 6:15 prior to the concert. The Tooele County Symphony Orchestra will kind of open for them. But I have never heard of Eclipse 6.
I haven't either. We don't have to read it word for word. Let's stick to the talking points.
Well, I want to give them the date and the address.
Just share it on our happy hour page.
No, but
We could do that.
Okay. Also, the Life's Worth Living Foundation will be putting together their It's a Wonderful Life Festival at the Deseret Peak Complex. What date does it say? I think it's next weekend. How come it's not showing me the date? That's because Tooele transcript hides a date in the bottom. Why would you hide it in the bottom?
They want you to see it.
Okay, this Saturday.
That's tomorrow.
Friday, so today and tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Admission is $1 per person or a can of food for the food bank. They'll have over 50 vendors selling handmade items, including jewelry, clothing, and decor.
I
along
love
with
events
products.
like this.
Well, yeah, this is community building events. And yes.
And John Gossett, who just had a birthday, happy birthday, John. He's such a great guy. Life's Worth Living Foundation does such amazing work. And, it's nice. And this is a homegrown organization. And we're lucky that John and his beautiful family live here in our community, and they work so hard for our community. Life's Worth Living organization is a place that if you are struggling with suicide in your family, yourself, they will go to the ends of the earth to help. And I know that from experience and just having reached out for them, for different people, and they've just been absolutely amazing.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
this is fun.
That is outstanding stuff.
Go check it out. It's a Deseret Peak, and I mean, a can of food or $1, and you get to get some cute ideas for your Christmas ideas and all of that. I really love that. I also have something coming up. Are you done with?
Yeah. What do you got coming up?
So on Wednesday, which is December 6th, we are we're having it's going to be a meeting with educators and about education in Tooele County. It's going to be at Excelsior Elementary. This is not just regarding charter schools. We're going to be having Matt Hymas is hosting, as well as state people. They're going to talk about what they want. Parents there, they want educators there. They would like 10 people, 100 people. They want to hear from you, and they want to know what your thoughts are regarding education in Tooele County. So everybody is invited, and we so hope that you will come and share your ideas and your voice. This is the thing. We fight so hard to have a say or to be present and have parents involved in education. And we have parents being called domestic terrorists across the nation, according to the FBI and the DOJ in certain states. And then we get an opportunity to have them come out, and these district leaders and these I guess bureaucrats that run certain parts of the education. We have this opportunity, and I hate to waste it. So use your voice, get out there and share what you have to about what you think the schools should be doing, their focus, what they should be on, what the state's doing. And I've shared it on the page for the Tooele Happy Hour. It's a town hall, and Matt Hymas will be there, Utah State Board of Education, and representatives from the House of Representatives. Hopefully that we'll get Bridger to show up, and Tim. We didn't have a lot of notice in planning, so before you hit off your Christmas holidays, it's a tough time to show up to a meeting. It's a Wednesday the 6th at 7 p.m. at Excelsior Academy Elementary.
Okay. All right. Let's go to some comments, see if there's any on there real quick. Molly May says, is there a way to look up how many registered voters there are in your city? I believe you can go to your county clerk and find out, right?
Yeah, I believe you could.
I think it goes
we
by
could go to our
county.
county clerk and find out.
We
But
could probably, Holly could probably call her right
and
now.
utahvote.gov, I believe there's information there. But that's a really good question to tie it into how many voters within a city. I'm pretty sure, you know what, I will ask our county clerk and I will get back to you on that because I'm
Yes.
interested.
Yes, important stuff. So, and then I did a quick review of Utah local news, and there is absolutely nothing of super interest. I mean, we've got Zion Park road reopens. Utah represent all four of our representatives, our 2 senators and our Congress people,
I
voted.
think that's a big story. The George Santos
Yes, and
story.
we're going to talk about that here in a minute. I've got that pulled up. George Santos is an interesting story, but all of our representatives voted them out. I got a gunman arrested for shooting investigation that led to a fatal crash. That one's fairly interesting, but again, that's just us shooting off the hip. Gunmen's are bad and crashes are bad. And Utah County Chase has 2 officers injured, 1 man arrested. But anyways, nothing really impactful going on around Utah right now. But there is some pretty impactful stuff that it's going around nationally. And I would like to kick off talking about, did you watch the debate that happened last night?
Yeah. Was it a debate?
No, it was a
massacre,
it
maybe?
it was 2 guys just talking past each other.
Well, let's
okay.
be honest. How could the, what's his name? Not DeSantis, but
Oh, Newsom.
I just want to say gruesome. Okay. How does he defend his state against Florida with his governance, with his history, with what we see every single day coming out of California? And I love the state, and I have people I love that live in the state.
Samuel Clemens said it best. There's 3 kinds of lies.
Is this what people see?
No.
Okay.
There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. And so Newsom, his state is awful. Okay, I'll give my opinions. One, I think Hannity shouldn't have been the one to moderate it, because even if Hannity would have been 100% fair, he would have been perceived as not being fair, because Hannity is well known for being a Republican spokesperson.
Fair. That's fair.
So I think they should have got, I think Fox hosting it was fine, but I think Fox should have got one of their, I think it would have been best had they gone with one of their unknown reporters like CNN tends to be doing lately.
I have a question. Why would Newsom ever agree to do this?
Well,
One,
Newsom,
two.
Newsom is running a shadow campaign.
Is right. But
Why
this
why
only
would
helps
DeSantis?
because
It didn't help DeSantis.
he gets an opportunity to show off what he's done as governor.
Yeah.
And he gets an opportunity to beat up on Newsom, which he, just with facts, he could easily do. I don't understand. I mean, yeah, it got ratings. Yeah, you watched it. And a lot of people, I heard the Cliff Notes afterwards.
It was awful. It was.
There was a couple of zingers
They
in
just
there.
they
that
just
were funny.
bickered back and forth. Okay, let me lay it out my opinion. So, one thing you can hit DeSantis on is when he went after outlawing books and outlawing certain curricula.
He didn't outlaw them. He just
I
took
want
them
you
out
to
of schools.
I want you to allow me to finish. It started out with him saying these books will not be in public elementary and middle schools. And then it kept expanding and expanding to where he was trying to outlaw curricula in colleges, which is when he got beat by the ACLU in court. Up until if he just kept it, hey, we don't talk about any sexual acts in elementary schools, period. We don't talk about that. I don't care if it's straight. I don't care if it's whatever. you know, and because it's not outlawing book, because I think curating books into an elementary school, 100% agree with. Into a middle school, 100% agree with. Into a high school, 100% agree with. And I'll tell you why. Because those parents still pay for everything with that child.
Yeah.
I think once they get to college,
And their key word is minor or child.
I think once they get to college,
They're free adults who pay to be there.
that's dealt with. But up until that point, and I think he overstepped the bounds when he tried approaching the colleges with that.
Okay.
And that's what beat him.
But they're both two extremes, so.
You're right. But the issue is that when Newsom hits him, he hits him with the rhetoric that comes from when he went after the colleges.
Right.
Which makes him look bad. Everyone watching who leans towards the Democrat opinion is going to buy into that opinion.
But they're not watching Fox.
I don't know how many Democrats would have watched that. How many Republicans watched the CNN debate that Trump had?
Well, the debate was all Republican people. None of
No,
their
the
people
one
were
that
on there.
Trump was in, where it was just Trump. Oh, it wasn't. It was a town hall, not a debate.
Well, that's the thing is, I think Trump brought his people to CNN. I don't know that Newsom brings his people
I
to
don't know.
Fox.
I don't know, but
I don't know what the numbers are on who watched.
I think obviously 100%. Florida has a glowing record on its community, on its people. But it was just a catastrophe. It was a train wreck. Of course, Newsom hit DeSantis with would you sign a national abortions ban? DeSantis didn't want to answer it because I don't know. I think DeSantis would want to probably take a poll or a pulse. My answer to that is 10th Amendment. That's it. My answer is 10th Amendment.
The Supreme Court got it right this time.
Yep.
Leave it to the states. And he's doing in his state what he thinks is best for his state. And if it is not best for his state, he will not get reelected in his state. But he did, and he did well. A national ban would be doing nothing but starting all over again.
That's just authoritarianism from the other side.
I do not believe in abortion.
I don't either.
I'm strong against it, but I do believe in states' rights. And I think that should always be the answer.
Yeah, but it was just a train wreck.
I just thought it was funny how he said, "Oh, we got freedom. You certainly got freedom to poop anywhere you want." Yeah. I thought that is so funny. The exodus out of California.
The best when he pulled up the map of San Francisco. That's the where is people poop on the map.
Yeah, the app. And the other was he's talking about the mass exodus out of California and the population loss, and millions of people are leaving there,
including DeSantis's
and then
in-laws.
He drops it, and the guy telling me this is by the way, I'm Newsom's father-in-law.
Yep.
And I thought, mic drop moment. But the whole time, this felt to me like this was a campaign helper. Hannity was helping DeSantis.
And that's fine.
Get some exposure. And Newsom took it because he too wants
Hannity's
exposure.
happy. DeSantis shouldn't have done it. He's the one who shouldn't have done it. I'm telling you, DeSantis shouldn't have ran for president because DeSantis, up until he started running this year, was a shoo-in.
For 2028.
Yeah. I mean, he should have sat down and Trump would have probably went to him and said, I want your numbers. I want you to be
VP.
My VP. Now, of course, Trump also lives in Florida, so that would cause a, cacophony. But all Trump's got to do is say, I live in New Jersey, because he has a residence there also.
I like DeSantis a lot, and I think you know that. He's in my top 3. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, and I'm trying to stay as neutral as possible because I'm supposed to, but also I really don't know yet what I want in a president. I know what I don't want, that's for sure. And I am paying close attention. Ron DeSantis, you're right. In 2028, he would have been a perfect time because when I know people in Florida,
into the White House.
They're a little bit pissed in Florida that he decided to run as governor again and then start running as a president.
Yep.
They wanted him to serve out his time. And I'm not speaking for everyone, but then, how wonderful would it be to have a really strong candidate in the White House for the next 4 years and another one right behind him ready to take over in 2028. And DeSantis could be that. I don't think DeSantis campaigns well and is a debater. I don't hold that against him, but I think he doesn't come off as articulate. Neither does Trump.
I think DeSantis would campaign pretty well if there wasn't a bull in the china shop also in the campaign.
He hasn't even had to face that bull yet.
And, well, that bull, every time he gets up there, they're all only facing him.
But he's not. No, I'm saying, you remember Trump's debates.
But, yeah. But
it was horrible.
They're all.
For everyone else.
They're all only facing Trump.
Absolutely. I agree with that. But I'm
saying.
None
of them has fielded many questions on any of the debates, on any of their questioning about their personal record. All the questions are about how do you feel about Trump doing this?
He's not representing his personal record anywhere either.
He doesn't. Well, he only selectively goes on when he wants to. But
I know.
Here's what you're looking at.
Well, it worked for Biden.
Here's what you're looking at is the media, CNN, MSNBC. This is for you, ABC, all that. With your guys' exhaustive coverage of everything he does, you're going to get him back in the White House. That's all I'm saying.
Did you hear Chris Cuomo?
Chris Cuomo says he's open to it
not voting
on
for
the
Trump.
PVD podcast. I listened to that podcast the other day. That was the most logical, not just surrounding that, just everything Cuomo said. That was the most logical I've heard him.
Yeah, but you see what happens when he gets away from CNN.
I see what happens when, could be that, or it could be he's throwing multiple lures in multiple directions fishing.
Well, I mean, I can see that, but I also think that he's kind of seen I think he's got the weights off now where he has to push certain narrative. Now he can actually think out loud.
Yeah.
Instead of here, tonight's narrative is about this against Trump, this against Trump, and Trump's bad, Trump's bad, Trump's bad. And now that he's free to think out loud, I think you'll see logic come out of him. Even Bill Maher surprises me.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Like logic is coming out of him.
Well, and how do you sit as Bill Maher, the guy who started his show off of saying we need to have free speech?
Yeah, politically incorrect.
Sitting there looking at what the Democrats do over and over. Right now, there's not a Democrat politician that is or would voice that they're a free speech absolutist. Not one.
Well, they may voice it. They may say it. But
no,
then
none of them will even say it.
It's
no,
crazy.
They won't say it because the party doesn't want that. The people voting for them, because they're the people in control. When your people are in charge, you don't want free speech. You definitely don't want that, because that's the biggest weapon against you when you're in charge. And right now, they hold all the power. They hold they may have a balance in the Congress, but that's not where real political power is. They hold all the media. So the whole fifth estate is theirs.
Right.
They hold all the colleges. They hold
education
all
total.
the bureaucracies. They hold all of that. It's all theirs.
All of film, all of industry,
yes, all of our entertainment. I would think it's a stretch to call it entertainment lately, but
Well, that's true. It's true. They hold all the power.
So they don't want free speech because they don't want anything to challenge them. When you're on King of the Hill, if you can take the cleats off the guys trying to come up the hill, you will. And that's what it is. That's what they're doing.
Well, and you're seeing that now in these congressional meetings about trying to...
In 20 years, when that pendulum swings and the Republicans or the conservatives or whatever they are at the time get back in power, they will do the exact same thing. And it'll be this weirdo. No, I won't be alive in 20 years. But it'll be weirdos like me.
Why won't you be alive in 20 years?
Come on. I haven't treated myself well.
Do you know something I don't know?
It'll be weirdos like me that'll stand here and go, You fucking hypocrites. Oh, and I shouldn't say that. That'll be the last time you ever hear that on this show.
Yeah, we're going to clean up our mouths.
Yeah, we have to. But anyways, that'll be.
Well, you see constant hypocrites all the time. We see that, right? That's common. I too would be against. I mean, I'm against right now a current Nikki Haley talking about Facebook and having people have to sign up with their names. I think of all these different people throughout history who were able to actually get information out and move people under a pseudonym and and maintain privacy.
Here, pull that other mic up real quick. Yours is bumping a little bit, so we'll try a different one.
Anyway, I think that when you can call out hypocrisy when you see it, it doesn't matter whose side you're on. You got to be blatantly honest, and I think that that's. Can I just get back to Trump for a second and his campaign? That's what I'm missing from Trump. That's upsetting me, and you hopefully know, all of you, and maybe some of you care and don't, but I was a huge advocate for Trump, and I was a very late person coming. I mean, voting for him in 2016 was very difficult for me, but it was mainly on the point that I did not want Hillary Clinton. And so I pulled the lever for him, and I do it because, and I was so pleasantly surprised. I don't like how Trump campaigns I don't like how he's on a debate stage. He avoids using actual facts and he attacks. And I believe once you start attacking, you've lost the argument. But he did speak to a certain group of people in this country in a way that said, okay, enough's enough, we're done. And I understand that. Too many times, Republicans are always playing defense. They're not taking the bull by the horns and just going for it. What they're doing is constantly fighting back and not issuing the fight itself that needs to be fought. Trump encompassed that. And I think that it would be really nice if we could get some words from him and hold him accountable regarding his time. And I'm mostly talking about COVID and shutdowns. He bashes DeSantis about shutdowns when it was his Department of Health that was demanding them nationwide. So talk about hypocrite for a second. And for Trump to be so, adamantly against DeSantis, and DeSantis is constantly trying to, the whole debate thing.
Well, he's coming after DeSantis because DeSantis is his biggest threat.
Right, currently. But they think Haley is going to hit different with New Hampshire's vote and people liking her. But again, I see a lot of people that aren't going to choose. People are going to take votes if they like DeSantis, but they also like Trump. It's DeSantis and Trump that are sharing the votes. Those people aren't going to vote for a Nikki Haley. Not that I think. I could be wrong. And again, these are all our opinions, of course. But I think she's in there with Chris Christie and with Mike Pence. The people voting for them are going to look to vote for her.
Let me tell you where Nikki Haley's going to clean house. She's going to clean house in the military-industrial complex.
Oh, yeah, the war
She's
people.
going to clean house in the neoconservative houses. She is going to clean house in raking in. I'll bet in the end she clears the most donations. 100%.
Well,
the person right now, if I was to vote for one of them, Ramaswamy's my guy, and he scares the crap out of me because he says everything too perfect. But he's my guy.
Oh, based on what record? Like
just
what record does he have? Just based on what he said.
Record on politicians?
No, I'm saying DeSantis can actually show what he's done in the state.
He can show what he's done in the state.
Donald Trump can show what he's done in a country and what he's done in a business.
Being a governor does not reflect into the White House. That's always been proven. It's never reflected into the White House. Because in a governorship, one, you carry different poles of power. A governor is almost God on earth. Okay. In the White House, you've got to, fight every state.
Well, then you're doing it wrong.
So he can't. They don't reflect. They never have.
I want to know key issues and how people are going to run
Vivek
a government
Ramaswamy's
that way.
Vivek Ramaswamy's issues are we're getting rid of this bureaucracy. This government has become an adversary and they're stripping us dry. He's pointed out how you would specifically deal with that. Let's show you Trump's record. He was in the White House, and yes, he failed in a lot of ways.
Well, he wants to drain a swamp. With the bureaucracies that we have right now, you can't do it. You can't. Ramaswamy, I like him too. As you know, he's in my top 3.
He's my top guy because
But
he's the one
I
with the rhetoric.
also think that Donald Trump talked a lot of rhetoric as well.
That's 100%
Got in
true.
there and realized this swamp is deeper than you think.
That's 100% true.
And Ramaswamy will be no different.
That's
the difference
also
is that Ramaswamy
100%
doesn't
true.
have a base that is prepared to go the long haul with him.
And you got to also recognize that me, standing alone, I recognize a vote for the president of the United States is just a vote to have your voice out there. It doesn't change a thing.
Any one of us could have the rhetoric.
Remember, I'm a black pillar.
I know.
I don't see a way out of this tailspin we're on.
We're making the apocalypse fun.
Engines 1, 3, and 4 have gone down, and engine 2 is struggling.
Okay, and I too, I don't want to be a black pillar. I would call myself, I'm awake. I'm a red pill. I've taken the red pill. I'm awake. So that doom and gloom, I feel like there's an answer, but I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing would surprise me.
What would the answer be? Could Congress pull us out of this?
Well, I'm upset with the American people.
Sure,
Nothing has upset them.
But
Nothing has made them angry enough.
Sure,
And
it makes them angry.
The people that were angry enough went on January 6th to the Capitol to protest in the People's House, and just the right amount of people made it bad. And there was already so many people that was like,
I still
this
say
is a gift.
January 6th was the dumbest thing. Why would you enter that building?
And who's to say that the first ones who
All
did?
you did, it doesn't matter.
Right. It's mob mentality.
It doesn't
it's human
matter.
nature.
Why would you do that? That was dumb.
Well, it's the
Because the other side holds the cathedral.
absolutely.
They hold the ramparts. They hold the turrets.
But you literally
They have
are
the Mott and Bailey.
legally able to enter that building and watch.
Sure.
But just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Sure.
Especially on January 6th, because they made a perfect mess for the Democratic Party to hold on to for the next 8 years.
It's 100%.
And to call
Just
it
like when all those FBI agents hop in those U-Haul vans and show up in the same khakis and the same T-shirts with the same masks on so they can march around and protest and sound like fascists. 100%. Just don't give in to that.
well, here's the problem. Do we have a revolution? Do people finally get mad?
I don't know.
Do people finally lose it?
I know, but we need to move off of that subject. We don't want a revolution bait today.
Absolutely not.
YouTube.
No, and that's wrong.
YouTube, we are proud members of your community.
Camille is on.
Well, anyways, yes, she is. But we got to
Thank
run
you.
through. Let's go through some more comments. O'Malley May says, thanks. She gets curious when she sees that only 2,200 people vote in a city with a population of 35,000. Yes, that is. But I like it like that because that's saying we don't care about you anymore. And I think the government is like a religion. And I think when enough of the population says, we no longer recognize you, maybe then we'll have the first ever bloodless revolution.
What? What do you mean the government doesn't recognize you?
No, when the people say that to the government.
Oh, I thought you meant the government doesn't.
Yes.
They've been doing that for a while now.
Camille says, in the past, you could request a report with that information, but you had to pay for it. I'm not sure if that has changed. Oh, and O'Malley says, they're talking back and forth. Why wouldn't that be free and easily accessible information? Okay, that'll be real boring. Okay. If I had to put a serious amount of effort to even look up it. Okay. The Republicans are going along with the Democrat agenda just fine. There is no balance in Congress that I can see. Yes. And also remember, the government people want to keep the government strong, because even the person in Congress looking for the least amount of power still wants some power.
Here's the problem in the federal government. It's the fine line is so fine. What the difference between a Republican and a Democrat is. Issues like what's happening in Israel, funding Israel versus funding Ukraine.
It's like what do you pour in first, the milk or the cereal?
But the truth is that when you're trying to differentiate, and you got 2,200 people voting in a city of 35,000, that's a huge tell. Does the government hate it? Absolutely not. Because
actually, Obama did. Obama was floating the idea of making voting mandatory.
Again, do you want everyone to vote?
No. It looks good when you have a full populace vote.
It looks good, but Biden beat him. Biden beat his numbers big time.
Why do you think Australia does it?
I get it.
I don't think Biden won a single vote.
Okay.
I think anti-Trump got Biden votes.
Do you think Biden got 80 million votes
legally? I don't think Biden won a single vote. I think all the votes that went to Biden came from anti-Trump.
And they were real people that voted for him?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to go down. Anytime it's been brought to court on the fraudulent election, they have lost. So I am not going to say I think that election was fake.
But yeah, people voted against. Biden ran from his basement. Right now, that's essentially what Trump is doing.
Because they voted against Trump.
But now Biden wasn't out there. Here's the thing, which she says that she has to go look and research and serious amounts of information on candidates. To find it is really hard. That for candidates, and I can speak for candidates running a race, is what they try to avoid. And the problem is campaigns cost money. Facebook is free, but there's time consuming, and you got to get your information out there. These candidates, they need the press to talk about them. They need the press to do stories on them for the people watching regular news, or for people who aren't as in depth as you are. O'Malley May, when you're doing your research, you have to inform the populace, and even to get your name on the radar is difficult. So I think it's not an easy thing for candidates to get all their info out there. But the state does, they'll share info about who's running, but they don't go in depth on that. That's up to the voter. And how serious a voter are you? And that's where you get your 2,200 people in a city of 35,000. 2,200 people are taking the time to find out the information about all the voters. They're finding ways to meet them.
Or they're just completely partisan off the start.
Yeah, or they'll just vote party line.
Yeah.
Which now they can't do party line, but they can fill in all the R's or the D's, however they vote. Mm-hmm. But
which
in our
I
county,
want to see them do away with party affiliation written on the ballots. I'd like to make people have to learn.
Yeah, no. We work really hard to make sure. If you're a Republican, you should be able to say you're one. I'm telling you, in these city races, a lot of people reached out to me to find out, just a second, to find out in these cities races if this person or this person is a Republican.
I know.
Private citizens ask me because they want to know what the values are in the platform that they vote based on, their platform and beliefs.
Would our nation be in a better place if people learned what the individual person thought of X, Y, or Z versus whether they were a Republican or Democrat?
That's not the point. These people put websites out that they will show everything they believe in their platform. I know that. When I'm going to look up a candidate, I go to a website that they have put out where they go through all the issues they believe in, the platform they believe in, and I'm talking about national and state candidates, mostly national that I've seen the really hard work when you've got a local representative, they don't have money to build a website and all of that, but they do use Facebook.
That's what we try to provide here.
Yeah, that's what
Local
we do
people,
here.
we want them to come on here and say, this is what I want to do, and I'm happy to. But we beat this horse to death.
No, there's a little more, though.
Oh, we've kicked holes in this horse.
You
Go on.
kicked holes in the whole election page horse. This one is very interesting. And she's saying, I think we need to realize we can't go throw cups of water on the neighbor's house fire while our house is ablaze and our family is still inside. Yeah, you have to fix your own house first. And it's the airline thing. You put the oxygen on yourself before you start helping others. And it has to spawn from you out. So maybe you do all the research and inform your neighbors. And I'm a person who, I love it when people call me and ask me, what do I know about this candidate or this candidate? I try to get as informed as I can. And I love this show because we can get in depth with them on those issues. But those websites will share everything that they believe in. The problem is you got to get people to them.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Nikki Haley gets a nomination, and she's in a head-to-head against RFK Jr. How do you vote?
I vote for Nikki Haley.
Okay.
Because she doesn't believe climate change is a religion.
Okay.
And doesn't want to bankrupt our country over
Climate change, just over war. Okay.
I don't know.
She just wants to send your sons off to bleed out. There's nothing like American blood on foreign sand.
I don't think that she would have the support of our Congress. And
No, you're fine. You're fine. I am not a party person. My vote would be different.
I just can't see. Well, first of all, that's never would happen.
Nikki Haley, to me, she looks like Satan.
Well, she's a warmonger.
She looks like Satan. I see Nikki Haley as
the Antichrist.
Damn near the worst choice on the field right now.
Well, and I don't think Robert Jr. would get against any Republican or Democrat on the national stage. I mean, he gets a nomination. He still has to go against the Democrat.
Remember, the Republicans beat out the Whigs once upon a time.
Yeah, but that was once upon a time when people were highly engaged in politics.
They beat out the Whigs. Not really. And at the same time, beat the Democrats, which caused the Civil War.
So you're saying if he did win?
No, I'm just saying
it would
people
take a
from the
miracle?
Outside can make it in. The Republicans weren't.
Of course I know that. I'm just saying, in this climate, in this world, yeah, he's thrown out a lot of good commentary, and he is bringing potentially some Republicans over.
I'm just asking the question where your vote would be. That's all I'm asking. I'm not even saying where mine would be. I'm just saying that I don't know if it's a positive thing that people vote party.
Oh, I don't care if they vote party or not.
And O'Malley, she says, I meet more and more people hurting and struggling right here. 1,000%, 100%. It's a struggling economy right now. It's hard. And then O'Malley also says Nikki would absolutely have the support of our Congress. And I think the reason she would is our Congress are allowed to invest. And there is no more profitable investment than Raytheon and General Dynamics and General Electric and Lockheed Martin.
I'm telling you, when you get the pulse of the United States and when you get our legislators and you're getting our for example, for this congressional race, the people and the public are done with war. It's been 20 years.
I know.
They're done with Ukraine. And here's the thing is they're not even excited about war in Israel or Thailand and potentially China. People are getting exhausted. And let's look at who's joining the military now. They can't even recruit people.
They've been done with war for a hot minute.
Well, we had 20 years of it. So they haven't been done.
And for the last 2 years, they've been funding those very same wars. And on the sly, sending our young men over there. And O'Malley May says bingo about Raytheon. I mean, these guys invest.
Big money. It's big money.
Now, we could probably change that if we made it so Congress and senators could not have private investments. We could probably change that. We'd have to,
They'd have to vote for that.
Yeah, sure. Probably. And they won't, and we never will. And that just tells me that this nation's doomed to fail anyway.
I disagree.
You cannot have those two masters.
No, that's true. But that's the thing.
So if they're not going to vote for that, if they won't work towards that, we're done. It's just a matter of time.
Mike Lee has vowed to vote for that.
We just have to sit and watch.
And
okay.
whoever we put in to replace Mitt Romney as a voter, we need to demand that of them to vote for term limits.
And
to
then
vote
we've
for
just got
that.
then we've just got to get that cycled through everyone else.
Every state. That's the thing. When we have red states and we have blue states, I propose a national divorce.
Oh, I'm down with that.
I could see that. I could see before the world burns to the ground, I'd rather see a national divorce. The only object then is how do we handle military?
I don't know. I mean,
and
right
attacks
now,
on the nation.
Right now, watching Rome rot from the inside, and the Visigoths and the Huns and everyone else are at the borders nipping off bits. That's kind of fun too. We're watching history in motion.
We are, and it's an amazing time to be alive, and also crazy because this happens. It cycles through generations. Mallie Mae, our state is as red as it possibly not. No, it's not. But you're looking at certain Republican reps, and I'm looking at my reps.
What if we
and
had...
I have zero question of the two representatives that we have are absolutely red, and they are working very hard in our county. I don't know what you're dealing with in yours.
Here's a thought. What if we had a divorce where government didn't have the power it had? Like the 9th and 10th Amendments, these dreamy little paragraphs. What if we had it to where the federal government dealt with foreign trade, defense from foreign entities?
Wait, you're talking about a document that you probably are referring to.
A guarantee of trade between the states. And they didn't get involved in, say, education. They didn't get involved in funding higher education. What if just that simple thing in the 80s under Clinton, what if they just didn't get involved in that? What if they didn't back that? What if it was still banks that backed the education? So then that would make it so that our colleges had to live it within reality, a subject that came up heavy the other night, right?
Yeah.
Instead of this dream world where I can offer a master's degree in some weird off the wall like basket weaving or something like that. An unusable. I could offer a master's degree in classical art.
Well, women's studies.
Name it, right?
Right. What about that?
But
that's happening
the only
now.
reason they can do that is because our government's involved. But what if they did that? And if our government wasn't that knee-deep involved...
Where wouldn't be student loan debt?
There wouldn't.
Because our government wouldn't be involved,
Crazy,
there wouldn't be
right?
student loan debt.
Because the people going to get a loan would have to go to a bank and say, here are my grades, and this is what I want to
do underwater basket weaving. And they would laugh you out of the bank.
And the bank would say... we'll fund a semester in basket weaving, but nothing beyond that.
That's the thing about these. There would also be, Social Security is robbing people blind.
Well, I mean, Ponzi schemes are going to Ponzi.
Right.
But Social Security could survive if you kept everything else logical.
Well, if you cut all these departments and all that funding, you could fund Social Security well. And it should absolutely be something. If people have been paying into it all their life, they should get the return. Eventually it's going to run out, and you can't avoid that. We're not making as many babies. And Mallie Mae says everyone in Twilla needs to make more babies.
That's everybody in the world.
We are having a shortage. There is a birth
world
shortage.
Demographics. That's anyone who's really smart is in fear of the demographics collapse. They don't care about the climate change. They're worried about the demographics collapse. But that's why I shop for tires. Again, I've told this before, but I shop for tires. So I want an ATV tire or a good all-terrain to be the shoulder mantle on my Mad Max uniform. That's it.
Okay. Black pill. But this is it. We are going to have a society collapse if we don't have the birth rate go up.
It's too late.
The birth rate is all by design. They're teaching children in elementary school to be terrified of global warming, and they don't even want to make babies. And we've got all these people in college who believe the world is burning and they don't want to procreate. And what they're not realizing is, O'Malley's hitting it, is if you can teach those values in your home, in your family unit, starting right then and there, of what patriotism is, what the Constitution is, the purpose of the Constitution, the individual spirit, and the beautiful soul that every person is, and what you're capable of doing, not by government's help, by individual help, by you finding it within yourself. And no, not everyone's meant to be Abraham Lincoln, and not everyone's meant to be a billionaire. But it doesn't mean everyone's not meant for greatness. If they have to see it within themselves. And if you start that in your home, and you have 4 or 5 kids that all believe that they are independent and that they decide their own future, and they just, by the government's not going to be their help. If you just raise a couple of really good people that go out into the world and they vote and they stay engaged in that, and they are helping and providing service to their neighbors, and they believe in actually, I don't know, the 10 Commandments, so they live their life to not kill or rob or steal. What we do is you've created a population of people that are going to care for elderly when you get old. They're going to keep the workforce moving along so they can pay into the system that is supporting the elderly, and they can actually change the system. And when I say change it, I mean maybe bring it back. But you need to have young people, and that's why they're indoctrinating young people.
Hopefully it's not too late. Hopefully it's not. I mean, the demographics collapse has been going on for a while. Even the Mormons passed the demographic. When the Mormons aren't making enough baby to replace themselves, the world is in trouble.
Well, Utah has like a highest birth rate, right?
And it's still not at replacement.
And it's sad because
there's 2 nations on Earth, 2 nations on the whole planet, and they're both in Africa that are replacing themselves. O'Malley May says, when are we going Mad Max outfit shopping, Jared? I will Mad Max outfit shop with you.
Like, you guys don't already own Mad Max outfits anyway.
I got a new pistol, O'Malley May. I want to, no, I didn't. I heard of a new pistol, 30 super carry. So I've been watching videos on it. It's just interesting, and had a deal, or heard about a deal. How do I phrase? But anyways,
went on a boating adventure with
lost
it
already. Or no, I just saw it. I heard about it. It's a pistol in my mind. But anyways, the 30 super carry, new round. It's been out a couple of years, so I've been watching videos on it. But I really want to. I would like to do some runs with it. Maybe shooting some. I don't know, flanks a pig would be cool or something. Just see what it do. But anyways.
No one can afford that. Have you seen the price of meat?
I know. Dang it.
I saw a TikTok the other day. I didn't see a TikTok, but a guy was on TikTok, and he brought it to the manager's attention of Walmart. And he's like, this says this meat is 6 pounds. I'm holding something that I know is 2 pounds. They had it marked wrong on the weight, and they were charging for it.
It's called shrinkflation. Got to do it.
And it's absolutely crazy.
O'Malley May, we need to do a Mad Max outfit. What do you call it? Model walk? What do they call it? Runway. We should do that. Get all our friends together. We all invent our coolest Mad Max uniform and walk the runway.
Right. I'll videotape you.
Oh no, you're in a uniform too. A new round that is not common is not good math for a Mad Max future. That is 100% correct. That is 100% correct. But, I mean, it's not uncommon. It's spendier than 9mm. I will say that. It's about the same price, honestly, as 380 though, which is wild. But it's an interesting round. Check it out. Humana. But we do have some other news we wanted to cover tonight. And I think we've talked about how we're in free fall to death. And another sign of free fall. In good news today, let me pull this up on screen. What do you think, Holly? You feeling good about what we talked about?
No. I mean, I want to make the apocalypse fun with this show, but I also, I know that we're not alone here when we feel this incredible weight of like, what do we do? How do we fix it? How do we stop this? And I feel like I said it a million times. We are not in a fight of right and left. We're in a fight of good and evil right now. And this is the biggest time in the history of our lives and potentially our children's lives that we have to take a stand. We have to take a stand. And if the people that serve us aren't serving us well, they need to go. And we need more and more people, good people, to run for these offices. Because right now we're all sitting back armchair quarterbacking, and the swamp is getting bigger and bigger. And we're trusting them to monitor themselves. And we're trusting a media that is already compromised to babysit these people. So for what story you're going into next, the fact we even knew about it in the first place, it took local governments to figure it out.
Well, okay. So, George Santos is out. So George Santos got voted out. It came out right after he was elected in, well, what was it, 2022? Was it beginning of 2022?
Is he just that new?
Yeah.
But he had another office before that in his state,
I think he had
right?
a local office or a state office. Anyways, he was voted in. George Santos has been expelled from the U.S. House of Representatives in an exceedingly rare move. They're reserved for serious misconduct.
Let's talk about his conduct. This Slayer.
Let's see if it mentions all of it. I'm afraid I might forget stuff. Well, he lied about everything. He lied getting in, lied. I mean, his lies were, I'm Jewish. I'm half Jewish. I went to college.
You mean like
all this stuff.
Biden?
Well, yeah.
Biden was the king of liars, even when he ran for president last time.
Biden's a Democrat. They're allowed to.
I thought, isn't he a Democrat?
No, he's
sure
a Republican.
Acts like one.
And the crazy thing was Santos is a Republican who won, I think it was a New York state seat or a New York seat in the Senate. Yeah. Fellow New York Republicans mounted an expulsion campaign against Santos in response to the federal charges. The effort overwhelmingly failed to succeed. Let's see. It's not telling in this story, but okay. Not just that, but Santos is known to be like a cross-dresser. He just...
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Except when you dupe people into voting for you who are against that. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Okay.
Not even that. Like he was taking money from organizations. He was basically selling his vote. And then he was keeping the money in his house. He has gold bars. He's having people pay him with gold bars. Like that's a slayer, man. This is like he's trying to be.
Is it Santos that did that?
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
When they did the
who's am I thinking of someone else? George Santos. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be thinking, what's that other one that got in? I'm thinking of someone else. I'm all confused. I'm all discombobulated. Okay, go on. Tell us about Santos.
Well, I want to make sure that we are talking about the right person.
George Santos, representing. Now we're both confused.
Down at the bottom, it should tell you what his charges are. He's got 23 federal charges. Private gain. Okay.
Yep. Okay. You're correct. I'm thinking of who's that other cat I'm thinking of? I don't know. They may have already kicked him out and I didn't know it. Subcommittee investigating. Okay. Anyway, sorry. I was wrong. Everyone listen to me. I'm a professional.
OnlyFans subscriptions. So he used his campaign funds to pay for Botox, OnlyFans, luxury retailers like Sephora.
What kind of fans did he get? Did he get like ceiling fans?
Oh no, he had a subscription.
Those ones. Oh, do they
so he was tuning in to.
Do they send you a new fan every month? Is that what an OnlyFans subscription does? Tell me about this OnlyFans subscription. This is him, huh?
Yeah.
He does look kind of slimy, doesn't he? I shouldn't say that.
Well, I want to see what this is here.
Yeah. Okay, blowback from House Ethics Report as Swift with Santos announcing hours later that he would not seek re-election in 2024. In the absence of an immediate resignation, calls to expel Santos were renewed, this time spearheaded by the House Ethics Committee.
See, and this is dangerous for Republicans because it's such a small majority in the House, and they're afraid a Democrat will come in and take his seat and win.
I think he is a Democrat. If this is the same guy, I
think he's a Republican.
If it's the same guy with the gold bars, he's a Democrat.
Then we might be talking about someone else because I thought at the top it said he's a Republican from New York, but that sounds like an oxymoron. Like that doesn't exist.
No, there was that one who got in who was a cross-dresser. Oh man.
He's going to wear his expulsion as a badge of honor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I just want to know what are the charges? Okay. I know it's not good radio. Sorry guys. I'm just trying to figure out what his charges are because there's 23. And if he's the same guy, there might be another guy now. That was like mafia style guy that was caught, but he might have been a local person.
Well, the thing. Okay, we'll look this up. We'll go into why was Santos expelled from the House. Everyone join us as we do our research live on air. Fraud campaign, finance violations, the explosive allegations.
Yeah, he's a Republican.
Okay, yeah, this is the guy I was thinking. The crossdresser. The other guy's a Democrat from Illinois.
Oh my gosh.
So this is the
Say
guy.
no more.
This is the guy that lied his way in because he lives in a predominantly Jewish community, and so he told everyone he was half Jewish to get the vote. He lied his way in all the way, and I laughed my butt off when he got elected just because everything was coming out then. Everything about him. And it was coming out by the Republicans. The Republicans were like, well, wait a minute, what is this? And it was kind of the Republicans in his local district.
Well, it's probably it came out because the Republican was running against him for the primary and started to oust his dirty laundry.
It could be.
I guarantee that's how it starts.
Also, the national media went down and dug up some old pictures of him. He was in like Cabo San Lucas, and he was working as I can't remember, as a professional lady boy at the time, whatever. But it's just, I was like, oh, okay, you had me screwed up. The other guy is, I forget his name, and we'll see what happens. But Republicans are oust themselves. Same thing with Nixon. Nixon was ousted by the Republicans just because he looked bad. Republicans care about honor, and Democrats, not so much. Oh, I gotta take this off.
Well, that's something. I mean, it's the same thing I complain about Biden and his, that he's being propped up and he has all these terrible things that he does. I mean, you see him where he tells the guy, I'm walking with my Marine here is carrying my bomb to blow up the world or something like that. And it's like, okay, Grandpa, stop talking. And those are just gaffes, and there's so many of them. And then Mitch McConnell shows up and he's stunned like a possum in front of the press. And I think it's a serious health issue. And I'm certainly going to call that out too when it's time to let these people go home and convalesce in their homes instead of running our nation. And I think that's something that, as a Republican, I hope other Republicans will call out our own before we start yelling at the other side. Keeping our house together is so important. But I mean, so something like this shows that maybe we are doing that. But again, there's so many hypocrisies on both sides that I'm so frustrated.
Well, I will say one thing for the Republicans is the Republicans thus far have been willing to clean their own house. The Democrats, not so much. And maybe that's
Mitch McConnell's still
just
there.
ingrained in the people. Okay, not completely clean their own house, but dust once in a while.
Right. That was a big piece of furniture that could really use a new home. They're not taking it out.
O'Malley May says, when I'm digging through the rubble and get some, how much will I
She's talking about the ammunition.
Okay. When I was there, they had some, I don't know, 20 boxes. Oh, yes. She brought up another thing. Okay, for you, Holly. She says, I'm thinking a 125 cc ATV tire would look good on you. You're pretty petite.
Oh, and, I love when someone calls me petite.
What is the stuff you put on your face before you put on makeup? What's the stuff called?
Foundation?
Foundation.
Or primer. Oh, no, it's just the
There's
whole
two
thing.
stuff?
There's a lot of stuff.
What does primer do?
Moisturizer?
But no, so don't you put something on before you put makeup on?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we put that stuff on, would you be willing to like smear grease across?
I am a Raiders fan.
Oh, so you
I'm
show
like,
up looking like a spaz sometimes. Okay, got it.
I don't face paint. You see what happens to people who face paint?
Yeah, they get in fighting parking lots.
No, this recent one where the guy on Twitter
the five-year-old?
the 5-year-old boy who came out later that he is actually indigenous. Like
A 5-year-old grandson of the chief of some California tribe.
Absolutely. This is our world.
Here's the facts. We have a supply and demand problem. The left demands racists, and we are not supplying enough racists. The guy who wrote the story, his name is Karen. I want everyone to drink that in for a minute. So Karen wrote a story about a racist kid.
But tell him what he didn't write just the story. He showed a picture on Twitter.
Well, he showed a picture. Okay, the kid, right side of his face is black, left side is red, and he's wearing a headdress.
But it looks like just the black is showing, and it's
so they had a picture from the side that only showed the right side. So, kid in blackface. And then when everyone pointed out,
and he said, "NFL, do better."
Yeah, when he pointed out that no, the kid's in in Native American face. Well, that's even worse. Now he's racist against both
He's
people.
at a Chiefs game.
Yeah, and then when they pointed out,
matters, dude.
When they pointed out he's the grandson of a Native American chief, he just deleted his tweet. But
yeah, but you know, on his tweet, which was interesting, is he puts his post and he's all indignant about it.
Yeah.
But he turns comments off because he can't handle anybody who disagrees with him or educates him.
Karen is above comments, Holly.
It was absolutely crazy, and it's come out now that this little boy is a Chiefs fan. So now this makes everyone think, I'm a Raiders fan. I'm not usually a face painter when I go to the Raiders games. I'm not above it, though. I mean, I get it. It's just a lot of oily makeup, but I get it. People love their football. So now they're not even allowed to paint their face. So, I mean, a Seahawks fan is doing green and doing blue. Is that blackface? Mine's silver and black. What am I going to do?
That's alien and silver people and lizard people face.
Tell me this. How bored?
No.
How lame is this guy that
I told
this
you,
has to be?
It's a supply and demand issue.
I pity people who live their lives this way.
The guy is demanding racism because he's built his life and career off it. Because honestly, he's a talentless hack.
And he's probably a racist. If we're being brutally honest.
It's a fact.
The people who are making victims of other people, and they're making their life about it, where this person's a victim and this person's a victim. Half of it is racist.
He is a black guy, but he is racist.
But okay,
yeah.
I don't care what color they are. If they're
O'Malley May's asking a very important question there at the bottom. Primer ?
Primer is like a Are you asking what it is? Because primer is like in makeup, it's a like a cream moisturizer that just puts under your makeup, and you put it on your face beforehand, and it just helps everything set. I love primer because it doesn't, then it keeps makeup from getting into your pores and breaking out and things like that.
See, I'm kind of leaning towards my costume. I want to lead into the humongous. For those of you not in the know, the humongous. He just wore like straps and like a Speedo and then had a hockey mask on.
Halloween was a couple weeks ago. Why didn't you just do it then? Why don't you do your trial run then?
I was busy. I was being Caitlin. And O'Malley May brings up another one. Yesterday morning, right? Was it yesterday morning? Henry Kissinger died. Now,
oh my gosh, I wonder what happened.
I don't know what the population of hell is, but I know it's one more. Henry Kissinger is a war criminal, full stop. He got many young U.S. servicemen killed in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos.
Well, he got to live 100 years.
The evil live forever.
And another person who passed away was Rosalind Carter.
Oh, Jimmy Carter's wife.
They invited all the first ladies, including Melania Trump, to her funeral. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. But she was a beautiful person.
Yeah. Well, let's face it. Jimmy Carter was a good person. He was too good to be president, which is why we fell apart with him as president. I mean, it's simple. You can't have a nice guy president. You got to have kind of a bastard. All right. O'Malley May says, and Cambodians and Laotians and Vietnamese and Israels and Middle Easterners and I mean, face it, Russians and Afghanis.
Well, he was a bad guy. And what's really weird about that is his accent. Like, he sounds like a super villain.
Have you ever heard his brother talk?
His brother talks normal.
His brother has been asked about that. And he's like, I don't know where he gets that. Because
he sounds like a supervillain.
Kissinger and that Soros guy and that guy that runs Davos that wears those weird pajamas with the weird Dr. Evil shit on the chest, they are evil. It's time I'm ever going to swear.
Almost laughable.
He was never prosecuted ever. I know he wasn't. And that's because America owned the World Cathedral, and that's why. America owns the World Cathedral. If you're in a small country and you commit a war crime and the world wants to come after you, they can come after you, snatch you up, and drag you off, just like they did to that Milosevic guy or whatever his name was from the Kosovo War. But who is coming to America to snatch up a war criminal? They wouldn't make it 7 minutes. Because we have the most guns. That's it.
All right. So we should probably...
Yeah, we do have to...
we have another topic I want to talk about.
We got the pocket. We talked about that. That was fun. We do have a topic that Holly is bringing. Now, share it to the...
It's kind of hard to do because I have to share from Google to Facebook.
Well, that's okay.
I'll just talk about it.
Okay, just talk about it.
So,
we're just gonna free roll it. No pictures.
So in the congressional hearings, and many of you may have seen, is when they're talking to Homeland Security, they're talking about, and I didn't realize this until just now, but this has been going on since January 6th.
Probably January 7th.
Yeah, so they pulled the air marshals. A lot of air marshals that fly on planes to protect us from terrorism. And they reassigned them. And they have been physically tracking. So following, like watching, not just people that were there on January 6th, but anyone that was in DC area. And the DC area is pretty small, considering you've got Virginia and Maryland. And they're tracking, their whole job was to track these people that were in DC on January 6th.
Anyone who flew into DC that day. So even if you weren't there for anything Trump, anything that flew in.
Yeah, you flew in for a conference.
A business trip, or, you know, you were going fishing on the Potomac.
Are you going to look at statues and this is so crazy. And these people's job is to protect our airlines, and they're part of TSA, or what the whole division of Homeland Security. So how it got out initially that I read was a man who is also a marshal had another marshal, and him and his wife were on a plane, and they knew each other. They're like, "Are you working this flight?" Well, no, because no one's working flights. And this guy finds out that his own wife, has been being followed by another marshal.
She came in to visit her husband.
Without his information. No, they were going somewhere together. But he wasn't given hey, your wife's under investigation. He finds out after the fact because he runs into a marshal who's following her. Because she flew into D.C. that time. She wasn't at the Capitol. She wasn't in the riots. And so that got brought to Congress. And Congress here is saying, what are you doing? Well, they've been pulled to follow these people around. American citizens. Then they dig a little deeper. Where are the federal security building agents? The ones that are guarding our buildings. They've been pulled by Homeland Security to actually do errands and stuff at the border. Their job is to take these undocumented people to doctor appointments, to this appointment, stuff the border agents aren't able to do. That's their job. These people are supposed to be guarding our federal buildings, and they're not. And here's the thing, people. We've got federal buildings not being watched, airplanes not being watched, though I don't agree with the size of Homeland Security or how they do their job. We're paying for them to do that job, regardless. So they should be doing it. Not Ubering around people, and certainly not following American citizens around without any evidence, without anything. This to me is absolutely crazy, and this is happening. Our own Homeland Security is orchestrating this, and it's a waste of resources, and it's against our rights as Americans.
The cathedral's in control. It's all I gotta say is the cathedral's in control, and that's what they want.
Well, they're losing control because they're getting exposed. The question is, what are we going to do about it?
I hope they are.
Are we going to? I'm certainly ready to call my senator and call my congressman and get to the bottom of this. But here's the problem. They get up in front of this. It's political theater.
They'll call them in and they'll say, what's going on here?
Mayorkas is a joke.
Oh, yeah.
He's a joke.
Oh, yeah.
The border is secure. That's a direct quote from him.
Oh, yeah.
He said the border's secure. This is insane. So that's my 2 cents. I hope people will at least consider it, read about it, educate yourselves, because I'm seeing it on the congressional hearings. I know it's hard to listen to those. Those are exhausting. But there's a lot of information coming out, and the people who are confessing or talking about it, they're whistleblowers who have already gone to other senators, other offices, and tried to say, look, I was working a child sex case, and I was really onto it, and all of a sudden I get dragged off it to go follow around January 6ers, or to just focus strictly on finding January 6ers. This is insane. This is insane. A man was just arrested in Alaska for child sex crimes. He had been on the radar before January 6th for violation to his own child. And the federal agent that was on that case was pulled off that case, and they didn't arrest him before he was pulled off so that he could go track January 6ers. You know. That agent is a whistleblower, and they only now just got him for different charges in Alaska.
Do you remember which agent it was that got put in charge of the January 6th stuff?
No.
It's the agent that ran the Whitmer kidnapping hoax. The agent that ran the up.
That's perfect.
We are in the collapse, but I want to finish out with some fun. I want to finish out talking about the signs of the collapse. Let's see how
I did want to talk about one more thing, so we're not finishing yet.
Oh.
You tell me you cannot, you close the door.
Gotta turn it up.
the plane is stopped, you sit. I cannot hold the people. You can do whatever you want. You can say the world. The world see my health is better than that.
You need to drink water.
Oh, so they're on. I might get in trouble for it. I'm showing it off of Bing.
You can say the world, my health is better than the world.
Why would this woman urinate on this airplane?
They're landing.
Even if it's Spirit Airlines.
So they land. It takes them a minute to get to the window.
Hope you crash.
And
The pilot.
she's like, I gotta go bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom. And so she just steps out into the aisle, like up by one of the escape doors before people are unloading, squats down right there in the aisleway, and just right there.
Were the full?
I don't know, but
And then they're being mad because people shamed her?
there is
happening?
There is signs of societal collapse. We are living in a South Park. Ooh, 125 or 90 cc, Holly. You're overreacting. Okay.
Yeah, we're living in a South Park episode.
Here are the signs of collapse. If you guys want to go look this up, look up anybody who studies late Rome, late Greco. Camille
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Camille Paglia is a good example. During a collapse, these are things that almost always happen. And I want you guys to tick them off with me. Hold some fingers up. However you take them off. The money gets devalued. Masculinity is shunned or outlawed. The artwork degrades.
And entertainment.
That is artwork.
Yeah.
Degrades. Low trust societies gain prevalence. We are there.
I don't know what the last one means.
High trust societies are societies that don't have a lot of crime.
Oh, okay. So crime is on the rampage.
Yep.
And it's right in your backyard.
And
That's California.
homosexuality and gender bending, and this is universal.
Yeah.
It happened in Rome. It happened twice in Rome because Rome was two different places. A lot of people misunderstand that. You had Western Rome and Eastern Rome, and it happened in both places. It happened in Greece.
You're being really quiet right now, and it's creeping me out a little bit.
This is intense stuff. We are in, I think it's global societal collapse, not just us. I think we're looking like the end of the Bronze Age, and I think we need to recognize that.
Okay, and what does that... My dress is fine. I'm fine. We're fine. Everything is fine. But then the average person has to do what? Prep and get their house in order. And
if you don't have some kind of food storage, if
more
you
than
don't
food.
have some kind of skills storage, if you don't have some kind of protection, if you don't have a plan with friends and neighbors.
If you don't have nicotine and alcohol in bulk in your house, their trading is going to be really tough.
And learn how to make that stuff.
Make nicotine?
Well, I don't know how to make that, but learn how to make alcohol. Not just for the drinking part, but alcohol
Medical.
is heavy in the medical. I mean,
Well, this dark turn is provided by Jared Anderson.
Yes, you're welcome. But no, food storage, water storage. I would say that is your priority to tomorrow. Get a plan, figure a plan out, start rolling with it, start planning. I think you need to get, start out getting a couple of days ready and then say, okay, start getting a couple weeks, and then say, okay, now I'm going to work on a couple months. I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to have a rotation plan. Dry goods are very important. You won't be able to rely on wildlife. You won't. I mean,
and you need medications too.
The deer will be erased from the state of Utah in a couple of weeks. They will be gone. There won't be a deer left. They will be reading about us 1,000,000 years from now saying, and we don't know why the deer went extinct, but it will.
Well, I mean, this is so gloom and doom, but following down that path, I know there's a place called Jace Case, I think, and they sell, and I thought this was amazing because during COVID, I thought this is when it came to light with the storage or the, and it, you know, with the back, everything was backed up. Jace Case, you go there and you can buy, they will give you so many prescriptions for antibiotics, and they tell you what those antibiotics fight. So certain antibiotics fight certain illnesses, RSV, and I think there's even like a herpes one or cold sore one, and it gives you all these medications.
So that's dual use for some of you shady buggers.
Yeah, that you could keep in a. It's made for a prep area. I want to say prepper, and I don't mean to say that in any disrespect because I'm married
You're
to
in
one.
Utah. It's not disrespect to say prepper. I mean, that's just
But after
Mormon.
supply chain went down, a lot of people couldn't even get their regular medications. And without a doctor, and if you need a medication that requires the DEA's being involved, you could really be in trouble. And so, I mean, I don't want to tell anyone to go easy on their meds or take half and try to save half. But during COVID, we really learned, like, you're not going to have everything you want in 1 second. And you're not going to last very long if everything's shut off. And I don't think Americans really visualize that. If everything is shut off tomorrow and you have to live off what's in your home, I mean, look at the craze of how people went over toilet paper. Like, that's a luxury.
We have 3-day supply lines in our stores. O'Malley May says spaghetti.
I love spaghetti squash so much.
Like a little kid.
You did.
Spaghetti squash stores for 2 years. Yes, and her spaghetti squash is delightful. And then
I want to know what I love spaghetti squash. It's one of my favorite
she's brought a couple
things.
over to me, and they are. I love. My favorite is butternut squash though.
Oh,
Butternut
spaghetti
squash
for me.
That's and she says my doTERRA oils won't be enough. Dude, hey man. Every time I see her, so what you on today, man? She goes through a list of her hippie stuff.
No, I
Pop
think
some crystals in there, and I'm telling you, she would be wearing tie-dye.
Do you know that years ago, you know Eric Gumbrecht?
Mm-hmm.
He's a dear friend of mine. And years ago, we were talking to CERT. Her name was Robin, and she's on CERT here, part of the CERT team here in Twila County. And we were just talking about preparation and all of that. And one key thing that I learned and was that communities, and the more local you get, so your neighbors, we live at the end of a street on the island, so went around to my neighbors and we just kind of get an idea of what everyone has in case there is a catastrophe. And so, one neighbor says you need to have a generator, and one neighbor says, well, I have weaponry. If you don't have weapons, I have weapons. All of us need to have food. All of us need to have water for our own families. But just the research in that, and then to figure out, how to, if you're in danger or if you have somebody that's hurt in your home, you put a red sticker on your wall, on your windows, so that passersby know immediately they need to go there. And if you're fine, put a green one up so they don't have to stop. Being at least thoughtful in that, and then also reaching out to your neighbors to say, hey, if there was an emergency, are you guys stocked on food? I mean, I've always let people know we're fine and armed here. We don't want you coming to my house for food if it's a catastrophe.
I have none of that stuff.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I've got a BB gun and one of those slingshot things.
I have foul language.
But I think if people really actually think that COVID was a perfect teacher. The problem is, did we learn? Did society learn? Because so many just complied.
You don't learn when you're in collapse. It's not a learning environment. We're too busy at each other's throat about whatever. O'Malley May says peppermint for dysentery. Really, peppermint takes care of that. That's good to know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to start prepping. What are those little round candies?
Oh, yeah.
York peppermint patties. Yes. Just kidding.
So I wanted to just bring up one more thing.
Okay.
But are we done? We're done.
Do one more thing. We got 10
Yeah,
minutes.
but this isn't a little thing. This is
We'll go for however long we want.
Chauvin.
Oh, okay. So Chauvin,
Derek Chauvin gets stabbed 22 times
like in the
on
face.
Black Friday. And I am absolutely, first of all, I didn't know he was in Tucson, Arizona. That's
Yeah,
where
he's-
there's, and if for those who don't know, he is the officer that was accused of murdering George Floyd by leaning on his back, which, by the way, is a standard police move.
That was the
And they're
best
trained to
in
do that.
court when the chief's like, "We don't teach that," and all the officers are like, "Yeah, we
Yeah,
teach that."
you do. It's in video. They
and,
teach that.
And then they're also like, "Yeah, here's my training manual. It's on page 4."
Exactly. But what that same day that he was stabbed 22 times, which again, I didn't realize this. I'm ashamed to say I didn't forgot about him, but I absolutely wasn't intact. Like, I didn't realize he was moved to Tucson. I didn't know if he was in general population. I still don't know. Was he put in general pop?
Yes, he was in general pop. He has been in general pop. His lawyers have been arguing for 6 months that he should not be in general pop.
No, it's a death sentence.
Yes, and the jail. First of all, this jail he's in Tucson is the jail federal penitentiary, federal penitentiary. That is in trouble for lots of these circumstances. They've had lots of people murdered in their prison, and they've been in trouble. So, this
Makes
jail
me
needs to
wonder-
be closed down.
It makes me wonder because, Epstein was suicided in his jail cell, and everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Epstein
right?
killed himself.
In the perfect storm.
Epstein, at 6'2" tall, killed himself by throwing himself off of a 4 tall scaffolding with the paper towel noose around his neck. I'll have you know that's 100%.
Yeah, that's real. So this is Black Friday when this happened. It just so happens on the exact same day that the autopsy results come out. The original autopsy that was done on George Floyd that actually shows that he died of a fentanyl overdose.
He died of 2 things: a fentanyl overdose and an oversized heart due to long-term drug abuse.
So that's a coincidence, right?
But the FBI got to that death certificate and changed it to asphyxiation.
And that came up during court case because I do recall that he did have enough fentanyl in his system, according to the examiner, that said this would have killed him within hours at least. So maybe the pressure on his chest
started to come
up
because that coroner was diddling like his assistant, and then he broke her heart like 8 months ago. So she started a lawsuit against him. This is too good. All of it's too good. You can't make
this up. Okay, so now you've got this man, this police officer goes to prison for 22 years, and the FBI changes the medical examiner's report, or at least encourages it gets changed. It's involved in everyone. But wait, the man stabs him the day this news comes out, and now it's come out the prisoner who did it was an FBI informant. So
was a previous FBI informant.
Yes.
Now here's my other question: did the FBI do it so that they could gin up hysteria, and make him a sacrificial lamb on the altar of let's get the Democrats in power, or was it done so that they could calm down? So that they could
the Black Lives Matter and Summer of Love,
so that they could try him and get the Summer of Love stopped. I don't know, but either way, I mean, that's an awful thing. Would you sacrifice one man like that to
He's
stop?
not one man.
But they're not trying any of the BLM people, which they should be.
This is the thing. He's not one man. Now he's a martyr, in my opinion.
Oh, he's gonna be, yeah.
But I'm talking about Chauvin.
And again,
He's not one man. He is the blue line. He's
All
the
of
thin blue
this-
line of law enforcement. That now, because of this case, every police officer has to think 2-3 seconds too long, out of fear.
Actually,
something like this could happen.
most police officers are looking for different professions.
They are.
But here's the
If we lose law enforcement, we lose society.
maybe let's just say under a malicious circumstance, trials are much shorter and quicker. Not as correct though. Anyways, but no, it's crazy. Which is all this leads me to why I like Ramaswamy, because he wants to tear this down. He's the only one that says it openly and actually lays out a plan for it. Trump says, drain the swamp. Ramaswamy says, I want to get rid of the FBI. Here's how I'm going to do it. I want to get rid of the ATF. But Ramaswamy scares me because nobody should be saying the things I want to hear because I'm a crazy person.
I don't know. I mean, Obama did the same thing, said things that Democrats wanted to hear, and he was young. He had very little background. I see a lot of similarities.
He said the things that Democrats wanted to hear.
And America wanted
Trump
to
said
support
the
the
things-
first black president. A lot of Republicans even voted
Trump
for
said the
Obama.
things that Republicans want to hear. Ramaswamy says the things that I want to hear.
Well, I like him too. I like what he's
I'm
saying.
a crazy person.
I'm not
Sounds
a crazy
too good to
person.
be true. I know.
You just have to, at this point in the game, and until we can get him here and meet him and hopefully have an
Yeah,
opportunity.
we're working on that.
I mean, we'll go to
You
one
know,
of his
there's a
rallies.
guy in our county that's one of his military advisors. We've had him on the show before. I'll see if I can't reach out.
Well, I think that you've got to get to know someone, and the truth is, once he gets there, again, he's fighting an uphill battle. The president is not a powerful person. In the reality of it all,
I don't know. Molly May says I want to have his babies.
then do it. We need more babies in this world. They'd be
Yeah,
beautiful
Molly May,
babies.
you're young and beautiful. Why don't you and that lovely husband of yours get it on?
I think that what we need to do is be aware, and I'm really worried about Chauvin. I think this is a dangerous precedent, and
we
I
need
think
to-
his whole trial was a dangerous precedent for law enforcement
Yep.
everywhere.
Yep. Well, not just for law enforcement, because it wasn't just law enforcement that was on trial. It was the ultimate innocence of the African American community.
What
Which
do you
is what
mean?
it was, saying that they're innocent under any circumstance.
And I
It-
thought that was OJ's thing.
No,
big claim to fame,
OJ's
I was
was
a-
the ultimate innocence of a very wealthy man.
That's fair.
OJ is
but the
not
black
black.
community did make that
Oh,
part
sure,
of their.
sure, but none of that reflected down to them in any such circumstance.
This is horrible to me. The
This
black
is
community could find great black citizens that are
This
doing
is-
amazing things, and
this is
and make
reparations.
that an example.
This is reparations in the courtroom.
This is horrible.
It
when,
is.
when an officer has to pause before they can even do their job. And the sad thing is, those people, anyone who watched that tape, I'm with you. It was horrible to watch a man lean on his
Chauvin-
back. But let me finish this thought. Watching that drove people to craze. And there are bad cops out there. I'm not defending 100%. There's bad everything out there. But what they didn't see is the rest of the tape, the prior tape of him fighting with this man for a half hour straight, like a 2-year-old. Roll the windows down. I can't breathe, screaming in the back of his
That wasn't
of his
even
cruiser.
Chauvin that did that. Chauvin showed up to they already had him on the ground.
Right, I'm talking
So
about
Chauvin
the
shows up and
half hour
thinks
prior.
that they had a fight. So he comes in, and no, he didn't kneel on his neck. He knelt on his upper back
His
between
back.
the traps. But Chauvin showed up. But also, here's the other thing that happened. And this had been going on. You've heard lots of cops in the area talk about this. Every time they made they had any contact with any civilian, a crowd would gather and phones would come out. And then everyone comes out and they start yelling at him and recording him, which I'm a supporter of. I think that they should do that. And I think police should learn to police to answer for that because it will only make everybody's operation better. They should. Also, police shouldn't be enforcing everything they enforce. You know what? I'm going to say it. They just shouldn't.
Well, that's not they're doing their job.
I know they're doing their job.
It's our legislators that should be making laws.
We should pull police out of a lot of stuff. But anyways, so Chauvin shows up. The guy's on the ground already. It looks like they'd been in a wrestling match. He doesn't know that what do we call him? Innocent saint, whatever. Went on the ground voluntarily. That's where he wanted to be because he was ODing. He was in the middle of a freak out from his OD. And so he's on the ground. He shows up. He's already on the ground. He just comes in and adds his support where he thinks he sees a gap that may need support on the shoulders of this giant of a human being. George Floyd was a freaking mass monster. He was a big dude. He was over 6 foot tall.
Fighting with cops, not fighting, but saying the exact same things a half hour prior. When I saw that footage, I was like, oh my goodness. And then when you see Chauvin's face, when he's standing there and he looks just so like he's been dealing with a 2-year-old, that's the look he had on his face. I know because as a mom, I've had it.
Chauvin's face looked to me like he
looked like he was sick and mean and vile in the first video.
He looked to me like he was nervous of this big crowd, is what he looked like. His eyes were darting around the crowd. You watch the video because the crowd just closed in on him, a big ring of people recording him, and he looked nervous about that. Was 9 minutes too long? 100%, 1,000% too long to ever have to. And regardless of circumstance, for the police officer, 9 minutes too long. If you have to physically control someone with your body weight or muscles for 9 minutes, that's too long. That's why you get handcuffs. That's why you should have
they already had him in the car.
Pig shackles in the back of your car. Hog tie him, stand up, and
they
fill
had
out
him
your
laying
reports.
in the back of the car,
yes,
and he was
did.
screaming that he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe. Please,
100%.
And he's like, "I'll roll the window down." The officer's trying to accommodate him.
I'm not blaming Chauvin here. It was as corrupt comes, and me, unlike everyone else, has been saying this same thing from the day it happened. I've been saying this the whole time because I watched it. I recognized what it was.
What?
That Chauvin was there holding the guy down. They didn't know he had OD'd, first of all. They didn't know that. But maybe police officers just say, every encounter, just walk up, bam, Narcan. And then
I mean, that's what they'd have to do. And they did not know he was
your driver's
on drugs.
But anyways, but no, I could recognize what it was from the start. I knew what it was. It was Chauvin was the senior officer on the scene with the crowd gathering. He's got a rookie on the legs. He's got a rookie trying to control the crowd. He's thinking, I'm
this
up
could
shit
get ugly
creek
fast.
without a paddle. And that's what's going on. So I don't want to blame the crowd because crowds are going to do what crowds are going to do. And you can't train intelligence into the general population, into Gen Pop for those in the know. You can't train that. You can't train common sense into people. There's one thing about common sense. It's the most uncommon thing we have. You can't do that. But I think, honestly, what Chauvin should have done, should have said rookie number one. He should have said, we'll pretend the rookie's name is Dumas. I think Dumas sounds good. Dumas, get me the pig ties. Go in the trunk. He pulls out the pig ties, handcuffs on the ankles, handcuffs on the wrists. The handcuffs get connected at a less than uncomfortable, or at a more comfortable than uncomfortable point behind the back. And then you stand up. You stand up and you go hands off. Police officers need to make it a policy that priority one on physical contact with an aggressor is to go
the threat.
hands off. You want to do what it takes to go hands off. So you wrestle him to the ground. You get him into a position where you can, like calf ropers. Calf ropers get him down, tie their feet, stand up, hands up. And that's what cops need to do. And then you can fill out the paperwork, and he can roll around on the ground and say, you know, I'm uncomfortable. You know, if you want to be nice, carry a little, I would say get little pillows, you know, like airline
Okay,
pillows that
you're
have
going
a
on a
little
tangent.
blue line flag on them and slide
Okay.
it under their head.
This whole thing is sad to me because we've talked about this before.
Uh-huh.
He would have never gotten a fair trial. He never
Nope.
did.
Wasn't a
There's-
chance.
The jury, there was no chance. And with all this stuff around it, and with the craziness of the Summer of Love, where our country burned, and all of that, it's devastating to me. And then with this new news coming out, new to some, about the autopsy and all of that, he can't even get a new trial or an appeal. The judges are denying it. And it feels like, and perception is all I have, this is my opinion, it feels like, I mean, they gave him a life sentence, putting him in general pop, and that feels like cruel and unusual punishment. They have to protect cops. They have to protect prisoners. Once they take custody of these people, they're responsible for them. And I think this is so ridiculously black and white wrong. And I don't understand why more people are not upset about this. Even if you think this guy was an absolute ass, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. And then no judge will give him an opportunity with this new evidence to appeal it. This should go to the Supreme Court, in my opinion.
I agree 100%. And the FBI who made that contact with the coroner say, hey, you know, doctor that up 10% or 3%. He should take his place in jail. Because I've always been a proponent of that. If law enforcement commits a crime to get a conviction, law enforcement should face that time in jail.
I think anyone who commits a crime
Bingo.
against or accuses somebody of
Bingo.
something
Yeah.
that's going to put
Hey,
them in prison,
I'm with it.
but they actually didn't do it, that person should be responsible.
But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Sadly, Chauvin is a sacrifice.
Yeah, it feels like he always was going to be.
Sacrifice on the altar of...
And again, we don't know what we don't know. Back
Everything.
then, I was with people. I was like, this is totally crazy, but it didn't feel right. Knowing I've been around law enforcement long enough to know that it just didn't, what I was seeing didn't feel right. Like it didn't fit. There was a narrative being said, but the actions didn't all fit. So I was so confused. And when it was months before they released the body cams from earlier, before he was on the ground. And that's when I went, oh my God, they were trying to accommodate this guy so much so that it was just, and he's kicking the window, and he was in the cruiser, he was in the back seat.
100%.
And they're like, look, we're just going to take you down. They were being so nice to him. And he's yelling, I can't breathe. He said it so many times. And they said, are you on anything? Have you taken anything? And he's saying, no, man, no. He didn't want to go to jail. And he was suffering an overdose, but didn't want to go to jail. He did ask for an ambulance, which they called. But again, they didn't know if they were dealing with a guy that was, because he acted like a 2-year-old. And this person has been propped up in the black community as the mighty martyr. And I'm thinking, there are so many amazing black people.
We do have
that
to
you should
shut this
prop
down.
up.
I do like how they painted his mural on the side of the building and then lightning struck it. So even God said he's not a good guy.
The man,
Anyways, no, it's BS. It is 100% BS. He's a sacrifice. For whatever reason, he's a sacrifice because they didn't want to come after BLM because that would have probably supported Trump and given air to Trump's campaign.
they declared war on the entire law
that's-
enforcement community.
Sure.
Across this nation,
Sure.
our officers
And
are
the whole
in
time.
far more danger now because of that.
And lots of officers were a part of that. Let's talk about the NYC cops who, when de Blasio illegally painted, Black Lives Matter as a crosswalk, that was illegal with taxpayer money, then had police officers defend it. And
Right.
police officers proudly defended that. So
I don't know about proudly.
there is
The
no
officers in
innocent
New
here.
York aren't big fans of
It doesn't
de
matter.
Blasio.
you can quit.
Well, you almost
You're
have
not
to
enlisted.
because you can't keep your oath.
Yeah, there you go. But anyways, we got to close it down. That's 2 hours, 10 minutes right now. Thank you for joining
Oh
us.
my gosh, we could go for 4 hours if someone
we're
let us.
We're gonna have to go for 4 hours soon, but there's changes coming. We'll be announcing those next week. Be a whole new show next week, so join us then. Things are going to change, be a little more outlined and humana. But I do like that idea. Just walk up every contact, Narcan 'em, just boom.
I think there'd be a Narcan shortage. Until this country starts making their own drugs here at home, we're going to have problems.
China will be getting rich.
Okay, thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Yes, thanks for joining us. You guys have a wonderful night, a wonderful week. Remember,
It's
if you see any news stories that are popping to mind, reach out. Let us know if there's a news story in your local area, especially you listeners. O'Malley May, we know you live on the other side of the mountain.
Hi, Mom.
Yes, hello. If you live on the other side of the mountain, send us that information. We'll gladly cover it. Of course, right now we're covering local Tooele stuff. We want to be an outlet for local events to have where they can advertise.
And I think that, like Mally May, if you have stuff you want to go in on your local city council that you want us to look into, if we have enough time, I'm happy to look into it and make some phone calls and get more information. The thing is, our whole goal is to just bring the discussion, and let's just have a discussion and at least educate what we can,
Hey, look,
how we can.
O'Malley May is saying down there at the bottom she's running next time. She's going to run for.
Oh,
is that
she's gonna
city
run
council?
for city council.
I like that. That's
It's a
what you read
great
right
idea.
down there, right?
Yeah.
That
yeah.
latest comment. That's what I read too. Thanks, O'Malley. We need more people like you in government.
Oh my gosh, she'd be a wrecking ball.
Dude. All right. You guys have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Ooh.
$48? You would die if you knew mine went up.
All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.